two-part workshop. Actually, we'll begin with a wonderful little kind of fireside chat. And we have with us today Miguel Gars, who I think I've known you for almost 15 years. And you are the man, the myth, the legend, so thank you for all your great work. But let's just kind of start out with, can you tell about yourself and your personal journey and how you've really managed to take your business, Yerba Buena Engineering, really to some great heights?
Thank you. So, Miguel, Yerba Buena has been in existence since 2002. And I started my firm after working, getting my first job out of school in 91. And in 91, I went to work for a mechanical firm. And then after about 3 years, went to work for a civil firm. So I only worked for two other firms before starting my firm. We started, and the exposure that I got working in the federal arena certainly helped, and that's where I got my experience working as a project manager, as an estimator, and then ultimately, becoming a program manager and working federal contracts and so forth. So that's what gave me the bandwidth to be able to start running right out the gate. I thought I knew what I was doing. And I came to find out that my knowledge as a project manager was not the knowledge I needed as an owner. And it became very clear that there were things that I didn't understand that I had to become a quick study. And in the next 2-3 years, I had to bone up on some very basic business acumen to be able to be attractive to other teaming partners, to mentors, and so forth. So, talking about mentor-protégé,
Mm-hmm.
and why you guys are here. And I think you're here because you're looking to grow your business, and I want to be holistic in this approach. I'm here because I've had some measure of success and the time to help other smaller firms achieve what they're trying to do. I'm near the end of my career, and you guys are at the beginning of your careers or midway through it. But advocacy does not start and stop with your agreement, with your teaming agreement. You'll find as we talk about working with a new Mentor-Protégé program that requires advocacy, not only at the Civil Rights Office, but with the directors and with the decision makers, so that they understand why it's important to have a program, and make sure that you have that legislative support that you're going to need. So in your development as a business owner, you need to develop your legislative chops and understand how to talk to help them understand why you need this to grow your business, why it's holistically good to create this space, not just for me, but for the small business community. And that's what it took working with Caltrans,
Right.
District 4. I think it was 2006. I was working with AGC,
Mm-hmm.
and I've sat on the board with AGC now going on 18 years, and California, San Francisco chapter, and I've sat on state board levels and had leadership at the state level. But at that time, AGC approached Caltrans to reinstitute a program they had years ago under the Mentor-Protégé program. And so with the commitment of management from District 4, and actually from headquarters, we got together weekly with engineers that were assigned to do this work and to recreate the program and to make sure that the program had what you asked for in this accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And so Caltrans knew that, and quite frankly, as in a mentor-protégé agreement, you should not be just looking for work. That's not what a mentor-protégé agreement is for. If you simply want work, and you're going into the interview process to be a mentor-protégé and to get into an agreement, you probably won't get accepted. Because at the end of the day, during the vetting process of becoming a mentee or protégé, you have to have a bigger vision just than getting work. And so your skill sets are, do I need estimating skills? Do I need PM skills? Do I need scheduling skills? Do I need organizational skills, operating skills? And so what team is going to provide that for me? And as a benefit, they've nurtured me, they've spoon-fed me. We understand the process as it's developed by our mentor. Therefore, now the opportunity to go ahead and get work is less risky for the mentor, because now he knows that he's worked with you to develop your skills and your skill set so that you're going to be a viable option for him as a subcontractor. So I started with a DOD Mentor-Protégé agreement.
And DOD is?
Department of Defense. The Department of Defense has a very rigid program, and it's a reimbursable and a non-reimbursable agreement. And these come from DOD headquarters, either through the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and their military contracts. And what they're going to want to know is why does the mentor need this mentee or this protege, and why is he the right fit for the team? And the requirement for a mentor on the federal program is you have to have a $100 million contract. That's a threshold to have a mentee. And if you have a $300 million contract, they may allow you to have 2 or 3 mentees. And these agreements are audited by Defense Logistic Agency, which is the audit wing of the federal government. So when you have your agreement, the Mentor-Protégé agreement, what are the deliverables? By the end of year 1, you're going to be able to do X, Y, and Z, and so on and so forth. So the program is not loosely tailored. It's very specific in the requirements that's being outlined. And the government's going to come in and they're going to audit the team to see if those deliverables actually happen. That is the kind of program that works well, because there are accountabilities on both sides. There's accountability on the mentor side, and there's accountability on the mentee side. And then what is the purpose of the program? Is it so that you give work to the small business? Wrong answer. The program is to develop the small business so that it becomes a viable resource for the agency down the road. At the end of the day, every large business started out as a small business, and they were given those opportunities, given that roadmap, so that they could be another bidder in the bidding pool. And that's where the government succeeds, is when they have more bidders. But if there are no more bidders because nobody understands the rules of engagement, then they're only going to have 1 or 2 bidders, and everybody else is outside looking in. So the feds want to grow capacity, and they do that through their Mentor-Protégé agreement. Right. And Caltrans did the same thing. And the last program that we had was about 6 years ago, before there was a change in management. And we graduated about 8 mentees that actually went through the program, 2-year program, and most of those companies are thriving now, have been very successful. I mean, there were De Silva Gates, Gelati, some of the big players became mentors to smaller firms that actually grew, and they had meetings with Caltrans to say what they were doing. So if you're going to advocate for BART to have a program, that program has to have a roadmap for success that has deliverables and that has a way to hold people accountable.
So it sounds like there's 3 phases. There's the vetting process, kind of the dance to figure out who's going to pair up with who. Then there's the development of the Memorandum of Understanding. Yes. And then there's the actual work.
Potential work.
Potential work. I mean, as far as, what you established as far as what you're going to work on, whether it's estimating, marketing, whatever. Yes. What are some good tips from your perspective on during that vetting when everybody's kind of doing the dance to figure out who's a good fit? Should they be going to networking events? Should they be really getting to know folks backwards and forwards?
So what we did at Caltrans and how we did it, at how the federal government does it, and how Caltrans did it, and how PUC did it, was there was actually a a matchmaking session where the mentors were at tables and the mentees all interviewed the various mentors, and where there was some simpatico, say, I felt a connection with this guy, and so you would write down your score, because you as a mentee were scoring how you felt about that mentor, and conversely, the mentor was scoring the mentee, so there wasn't one side score. So then those were copulated together, and then there's obviously some mentees and mentors, a lot of them gravitated to one or two teams.
Yeah.
And so there had to be a second choice and third choice, because everybody couldn't go with that one firm that everybody wanted to be their mentor, right, or their mentee.
So on these matchmaking sessions, you better be able to tell your story in a compelling way.
Why do you want to be a mentee? What is your goal? And again, like I said, if your goal is just to get work, you're probably going to score low. That should not be your goal. And the work will, it's chicken egg, right? Which comes first, right? Developing your business, and then developing the personal relationships, and going to the brown bags. Are you getting invited to the brown bags? Are you getting invited to the bid openings, the bid day estimating, so that you see the process? Are you part of the team? Can you walk through the office? That's the kind of relationship you want to have with your mentor, so that you're part of the team, your family, so you can see our process. We want you to understand our process. And then sooner or later, program managers and project managers say, hey, we're going to give you the opportunity to do this little culvert repair or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's how you develop that relationship. Now it starts to develop and grow. So when you're thinking about marketing yourself, don't be afraid to show your frailties.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to show what you need, because you don't need anything. Why are you here? Right? So you need to show that you know what you need and where you really need help, and can you guys support me? I've never done a P3 project schedule. I know I've got some clients that need me to use Primavera. I need somebody to teach me this. Do they do Primavera, right? I mean, it'd be terrible to get into a mentor-protégé agreement and realize they don't have the software you need. So just laying your soul in the respect will gain that confidence that you're willing to learn. And at the end of the day, that's what they're looking for.
Miguel, how important is it to have a really effective and succinct statement of qualifications document? Is that a good tool to have when you're going to these matchmaking sessions?
It should be a one-pager. It should really be a one-pager. What do they want to know? They want to know what your bonding capacity is. They want to know, do you have a line of credit? Do you want to know, do you have a bank that's reputable in the sense of a community bank, or, are you dealing with Wells Fargo? Or who are you dealing with? Who's your surety bond? Who carries your paper? In other words, is it USF&G? Is it Liberty? Is it Safeco? Is it Travelers? Who's carrying the paper? Don't put your bonding agent, put your guy who carries the paper. That's more important. Because then they can go to their bonding company and say, hey, he's being carried by Liberty. And now, can we work, and if we need support and we're going to support him, can we work together with the Liberty team? That's what the information they need to know.
So lead with your strengths, but don't be afraid of your weaknesses?
Absolutely.
Okay. So step 2 then, of course, is the development of your Memorandum of Understanding. So is it important to really be detailed and really kind of work in partnership with your mentor to kind of really dig into things?
Well, I think very great templates are in SBA website. So SBA has done over the last 10, 15 years, SBA has loosened the mentor-protégé relationship without there being what we call, when you join two assets together, I forget what the word is, that there's not a union of the two companies. It used to be if you were a mentor or a major subcontractor, there could be a sense that it's not one entity. It's not two separate entities, but one entity. So SBA has really loosened those rules, and a very good template on how to develop your relationship so that there is no, there's clear separation between the organizations. And at the end of the day, that's what SBA expects. And then there's enough room and flexibility so that it can be tailored to individual needs. Some people need estimating skills.
Right.
Some people need operation skills. It should be as detailed, because if it's not detailed enough, SBA will kick back.
Okay.
It's too general, and which means we can't audit it. We can't be very specific. And so they want, some very specific milestones
Okay.
and some specific, what are you providing? Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Is it because I need to get access to 8A contracts and I'm no longer an 8A and he's an 8A, so I want to be able to access that market?
Yeah.
That's not going to fly. I know this veteran business. We're not a veteran business, but we're able to partner together so that I can access that business. That's a great way to go to jail. Yeah, because they will prosecute you. And all you got to do is go into DOJ website and say contractor fraud. And the majority of the cases that are prosecuted are when companies are not commercially useful functions and they're pass-throughs under a social economic program. So if you're purporting yourself to be veteran-owned business, but you're not doing any work and you have no employees, and all you're doing is signing checks, you're on thin ice. Yeah. And if you're doing the same thing as an 8A, you're through the ice, and you're just waiting to get indicted. And it happens every month. And so that's the hard. When you're dealing with the federal government, the opportunities are great, but at the end of the day, it comes with a price. You have to fly right. You have to stay right.
So really, it's important to have measurable goals.
Yes.
And metrics that can be measured by outside sources.
Absolutely.
So therefore, really, that memorandum of understanding really is almost your critical roadmap document.
Absolutely.
And it should help guide you through the whole life of that relationship?
The relationship is usually 2 to 3 years. Okay. You can't do enough in 1 year. It's really 1 year is not enough time.
Okay.
So any good program is at least 2 years long.
Okay.
And a great program is 3 years long,
Okay.
which carries on forever. I have example. I started a mentor-protégé agreement as a program manager for the company that I worked for before back in 1997. I still work for that company now because of the relationships I developed in 97. I still work for the Navy under their master contract today.
Great.
And so those relationships, management changes, but the relationship will always be there. And the Navy will say, hey, you should think about using Miguel. You're not meeting your small business goals. Oh yeah, we forgot. And then next thing you know, you're called to the table and you go ahead and do what